coming to you live here from Corina, a rural locality in the local government areas of Warata Wynyard, Circularhead, and west coast and northwest region of Tasmania. We are here today with the first, well, I was going to say the first of our closed qualifiers, but I remember we actually had two before this, didn't we? So we are here today with the closed qualifiers of Oceania / rest of Asia. I'm of course the Yakuzaku of Nizaku, and with me today is el asatante, el fico que no está relacionando con Ralph Nader, Light _VIP. How we doing, Light?
What's up, Yaku? Yes, you are correct. This is our third closed qualifier broadcast and our second cast of the day, as we are here to find out who out of Oceania goes to that main event where players like Seether, Probe, Miyamaika, and T-Bull are waiting for them. Oh boy.
All ready and waiting, and yeah, there are 8 players showing up today, 8 players who were, I want to say selected, but really they qualified. For these closed qualifiers, only 4 of them will be advancing on to that main event. Let's find out who they are.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone, !B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the brackets. There is a bracket. It is double elimination. 4 matches are going on at the same time. We had the luxury of choosing one of them, and we have chosen one of our boys.
Yeah, we have chosen correctly.
There were some pretty spicy series, not gonna lie. But we want to be here for one of our own, for our CranKy Duckling. We want to try and give him as much love and support as we can, and we'll see how far he can go.
Yeah, especially since in the first round he's up against Grand Platypus himself, eh?
True.
As somebody who is kind of at this point an honorary Duckling.
Yeah, in a way, he's been very involved in our tournaments, in our us in general, in our events for the Oceanic region. But mate, here we go, our first series, best of 3.
Best of 3! And we're kicking it off on Glittering Ashes LE. We're in the top right-hand corner map, swatting all the way in the top right-hand corner. We, of course, have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of India. He, of course, is going to be representing his team, the Alpha X's. Alpha X, he is Demi.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Glittering Ashes LE, we have the one, the only, the Duck of the Stars, hailing from the land of Australia, representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is StarDuck.
Almost didn't wake up.
If you're in our Discord server, then you are aware of a little interaction that I had with StarDuck. Shaking my head. Oh my god. And yes, you are correct. StarDuck was asleep. He was in bed up until the start of this broadcast. And we were a little bit stressed out. I was a little bit stressed out as well, because it's like I may have to message other players. We may have to go for a different series instead. But thankfully he did wake up and we were able to continue with our show.
Yeah. I believed.
Oh boy.
All along.
My faith was wavering, Yaku. It was I've been there before, where we're waiting in a Team League match, and we're waiting for StarDuck, and he's not showing up. he's not there.
We're spamming our trucks.
We're spamming the trucks. Ay.
And we'll see. Hopefully he, physically he hasn't been awake for too long, but, I do know that StarDuck, mentally, he's always awake, even when he's asleep.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Something to bear in mind is that, of course, StarDuck did kind of have to go through those brutal qualifiers, the open qualifiers. Demi was able to rest easy the entire time and watch from the sidelines as he was seated in.
Yeah, you got to get an idea of how StarDuck is playing nowadays, as, it is actually kind of hard to glean what StarDuck prefers doing in this new meta. He hasn't quite been able to show how he's been, what playstyles he's preferred, and for now, It's gonna be something I was not expecting, personally.
Yeah, this madman on Glittering Ashes is going for a Robo opener here. So StarDuck opening this up very differently, very unorthodox.
This poor Overlord, finally, it finds a dead air.
Hey, many times I never find this place. I just try as I might. But because of this Robo opener, typically this would kind of lean towards a Robotics Bay and going into a Disruptor drop. But as we can see, we already have the first War Prism on the way. We should be seeing, yeah, there's the Bay.
You'll love to see it. And Disruptor drops are definitely very effective in the PvZ. It all comes down to how well the Zerg player is able to react. They're kind of like the mine drops of Protoss.
Yeah, there are strengths and weaknesses to this. Obviously, there's a massive investment into the Prism, into War Prism speed, and into Disruptors. So they need to deal damage. That's like the thing about them, right? And if they don't, then you're a little bit behind because you're delaying so much tech to make this happen.
Well, I like this from StarDuck already. He's moving across the map a little bit before he gets his Disruptors out. So yeah, just trying to figure out what he can get done in the meanwhile. It will take a very long time before those Disruptors do come out. And he can always recall that War Prism as he actually throws out a second Stargate.
Oh my god, he's crazy. What a madman. So he's here across the map. Obviously he's been scouted. The Prism itself has been scouted. This still could even look like DTs or something like that. So we do have spores being thrown down in every single base just in case. War Prism goes in and it's only Adepts. It's going to be dealing a little bit of damage. And I kind of love this adaptation. So StarDuck, instead of getting War Prism speed, he saves that gas and invested into Stargates instead.
Interesting. All right, so we will be seeing a pretty big transition coming out from StarDuck here. What happened to those Adepts?
They're chilling.
Oh, okay. I was worried. I was worried for a sec.
Oh boy. Meanwhile, we do have a mass amount of Lings rushing across the map. Unfortunately, those two Adepts are across the map. They're not going to be here at home to defend. Meanwhile, we do have a couple more here, but are they going to be enough?
Well, not if they get surrounded, I can tell you that much.
Up! Oof.
One of them does get taken out, and StarDuck will be forced to cancel that third Nexus. There's a Disruptor here, but understandably, StarDuck doesn't want to reveal his hand too early.
Yeah. Again, bearing in mind that if we look at the vision, at the same time, Adepts do go across the map, and he's trying to get a couple of drone kills, but the focus fire isn't quite there. 2 drones, 3, up!
Almost!
Oh.
2 drones.
Yeah, 2 drones go down. But looking at the vision of Demi, he hasn't gone into the main base. He doesn't really know what's happening here. I mean, we're also trying to figure out what's happening here.
Yeah. I'm guessing Phoenixes for crowd control and then Disruptors to deal the actual damage.
Yeah. That's kind of the plan here. Again, there's going to be a bit of a surprise factor as well, but unfortunately, Demi just keeps going in with all these things, and we're lacking in gateway units right now. We do have a couple of Zealots here, but they almost get surrounded, or they basically do.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, but there is a lot of DPS on 2 Zealots and 1 Adept, so these Lings aren't really going to be getting much more damage done. This is Demi pretty much doing Demi things, being as aggressive as possible with his early Lings, and then try to build up to a mid-game composition. Nice split right at the end there, but Demi will have to sacrifice one of his queens.
Yeah, now Demi's fully aware about the Robo opening, or the Robotics Bay opening, I should say, and he doesn't care. He's going across the map with Roaches, and again, with mass Roach Ling, like, Phoenixes are going to have a hard time cleaning all this up.
Yeah, they're trying to lift slowly but surely, but Phoenixes don't do that much damage against armored units. Very nice split from Demi here. 2 Purification Nova's not getting too much done. This is a lot of Zerg hammering down this third base. More Phoenixes are arriving, and it looks like it's going to be just good enough to hold for now. The Disruptors in the War Prism should have reset their Novas as well.
Yeah,
coming out with a good measure. Exactly,
because the Roaches were just trickling in, StarDuck was able to basically pick every single one of them up, and he can just chase all of this back. Also, bearing in mind that even though we haven't had amazing Purification Novas yet, they are both still alive, so there's always still potential for damage here for them.
Yeah. An alive Disruptor, it's more than a dead one.
It is. Meanwhile, Demi's doing Demi things. We do have a Spire on the way, but again, going Phoenixes like this kind of already counters the Mutas if he did want to go for them. Obviously, there's the option for Corruptors, but he's got to deal with these Disruptors. Up!
And that's not a very good place to retreat into. That is a choke point that StarDuck has made full use of. He's got plenty of Phoenixes right now, so he doesn't care about taking a couple of shots from Spore Crawler. 8 drones go down in addition to those 2 queens, and Demi's feeling a little bit of pressure right now. He surrounds the Immortal.
Oh, that's a big loss. The first Immortal goes down. There are only a handful of gateway units here. Again, bearing in mind that there is no Twilight Council, there's no charge, there's no blink, there's nothing like that to support these gateway units. It's just, they're just vanilla. Up.
Yeah, pretty much. The Immortal gets surrounded again. And will get taken out. Demi starting to reciprocate the worker losses that he had. The worker damage, and he is pretty dang far ahead in the drone count.
Oh god, he really is. Meanwhile, it looks like oh no! Look at the units lost up. I don't know what happened, but the War Prison went down.
What? Did the Disruptors go down with it?
Yeah, I guess it was left idle across the map with the spores, and just then StarDuck was, I imagine, trying to find them. Oof.
And things have gone from bad to worse for StarDuck right now. He has plenty of Phoenixes in the sky, but I don't think he's going to lift every single individual circling here. Plus the Corruptors are out, so...
Yeah, exactly. Corruptors are on the way. The Roaches are pushing on forward, trying to get into that natural base. And sure, the third has survived, but so many probes have already gone down. Like, the economy of StarDuck is in shambles.
The third has survived, but it wishes it didn't. This is still a very potent force for StarDuck, and I do like the positioning that he's forcing Demi to fight in. It's unfortunately not enough to counter the math that's on Demi's side right now, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's, again, one of those things where I really like the ideas behind going for this overall strategy and plan, but again, the execution was lacking a little bit here for StarDuck, leaving his Immortals a little bit idle, like they were all obviously sniped one after the other. Like, imagine if at this point we had 4 of those Immortals to defend and go up against all those Roaches. Like, this would have been a completely different game.
Really would have. But for now, StarDuck's just going to do whatever he can to slowly get himself back up. You know, we mentioned that he did keep his third base alive, and so that's definitely a decent starting point here for him. He can remake the probes, but he does need to deal damage, and he does need to do an equivalent amount of counter damage, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, at least he is distracting Demi for the time being, but Demi isn't being distracted for too much longer. He has another wave of Roaches, he has more Ravages here outside the base, and... oh god, again, there's only a single Immortal. No, they get on top of it!
Yeah, unfortunately, StarDuck a little preoccupied, not quite able to get the force fields down. GG is called, and Demi takes game number 1.
GG, well played. Demi does take the first game here again. Though it's a best of 3, so StarDuck still has another chance. But that was an interesting opener. Something I haven't quite seen before.
Yeah, it's definitely an opener that, like you were saying there, like I can understand the idea behind it, and I think that it would have worked out really, really well if not for the fact that he was up against Demi. Demi playing, you know, if StarDuck had a bit more time to round off his composition a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that build felt very anti-Demi, which is a good thing. Again, I feel like it just needs to be refined a little bit more there.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is that we all know that Demi loves going to mutas, and I'm sure that's like what he would love to go for, but that build specifically kind of just stops that kind of play completely in its tracks, which is really cool. And again, he was going into Immortals at home. He was trying to prepare for a Roach counterattack, but yeah, just didn't quite have enough there in the end. Oof.
Arguably, the sequence of events there was a little bit off. You know, he got the second Stargate before he got the Disruptors out, and because he was getting Phoenixes that entire time, Demi, even before Demi threw down his Spire, he was like, okay, I'm not gonna go Mutas this game.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go for Corruptors. Maybe if he delayed the Phoenix production for a bit.
Maybe. I mean, again, I feel like that's all like that was the plan. So yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be adverse to seeing that again at some point, but I don't think in the series. I think that's kind of a one and done sort of deal.
Yeah, maybe against somebody like Ender, or, you know, some of these other players. But regardless, we are going to be continuing our series now on Hotwire LE. We're in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. We, of course, have our red Zerg player coming down from the Jewel of India. We have the Shark himself, also known as El Platypus Grande. He is going to be representing his team, Alpha X. sushi somewhere in the chat? Question mark. He is Demi.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the Australian Protoss player himself representing the CranKy Ducklings. Currently down in the series, but he's not out. Not yet. It is StarDuck.
And game number 1, no, it's just a warm-up. He's just getting out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
So,
unironically.
getting familiar with his surroundings, or refamiliarizing himself with his surroundings. His eyes need to readjust.
Yeah. I do agree. I do think that the longer this series goes on, the better it's going to be for StarDuck, just because he's going to be waking up more and being that much more alert. Oh boy, but we'll see if it's going to be enough to take down someone of the caliber of Demi. StarDuck has been Demi in the past, whether it was in GPO or even in Sparkling Tuna Cups or other online tournaments. It is well within his ability to do so, but again, he's got to be in form, in shape.
Yeah, we were mentioning that this is almost a little bit of a grudge match between Demi and StarDuck. It's not as storied of a rivalry as, say, Demi and Mio Micah, Demi and Azur, or StarDuck and who is StarDuck's rival? I think about it.
I'll say StarDuck and Mio. They played quite
StarDuck
often,
and Mio,
actually.
true. Yeah, StarDuck and Mio.
The period where 4 weeks in a row or something they played against each other.
Yeah. But yeah, as you were saying, StarDuck and Demi do have faced off against each other very, very often in our events, in I think the Demi Open even, when Demi had that. So they are very familiar with how one another plays. It's just who adjusts better, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, again, like Demi, he was in the chat. He was watching StarDuck versus both Ender and Nux. So he does already have an idea of certain builds that StarDuck does utilize in this matchup. So he does have that a bit to his advantage. Meanwhile, StarDuck, again, we're keeping an eye on his openers, goes for a Twilight Council.
Very different from game number 1, but it's also very different coming out from Demi, who gets a very quick Baneling Nest.
Oh boy, let's go. Demi going for a Bane bust. He has cut drones. He's making nothing but lings right now. He is going for it. Meanwhile, StarDuck, if he had gone for a Robo opener again, I think he'd be dead. So I think this is better for him. But he needs to recognize what's going on here. As he does have an Adept across the map. He hasn't gone into the mineral line yet, so he hasn't quite seen the drone count. But if he's here, then he will see the links coming across the map as they back
Hopefully. We will, yeah. Ooh, and we do see what StarDuck's utilizing that Twilight Council for. You know what? Archons. They're pretty good against Banelings.
Yeah, the Banes are gonna hit first though.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Oh
as long as StarDuck survives for the next 2 minutes or so, which is a tough ask at this point.
Yeah, so the worst case scenario is here. The fact that StarDuck hasn't seen this coming, he didn't have any vision on the map. He has no idea that there's Ling Bane waiting outside his base. Because of that, there's no shield batteries. There's no probe ready for a secondary wall. The Banelings are about to rock up, and this is the first that StarDuck gets an inkling of this.
This is so unfortunate.
Oh god, oh god, oh god,
and
the Banes are here!
Straight for the Adept and the Stalker. The Bane's actually not quite able to bust all the way through, but they do weaken up this gateway by a lot and a lot and a lot. Stalker will eventually go down, and that's a lot of surface area on these gateways. Not only does this open a wall, this also cripples the production capabilities of StarDuck. So that Dark Shrine is going to finish up, but he's not going to be able to produce any DTs whatsoever. This is, like you were saying, worst case scenario for StarDuck, best case scenario for Demi.
I mean, thankfully,
even he's in disbelief.
Thankfully, there are 2 gateways in the main base, so he's warping in a couple of DTs, and there is no detection. But Banelings are being morphed in, and probes are starting to fall here. The DT will eventually clean everything up, but how much damage will this deal? And of course, Banelings can detonate on those DTs.
Like, okay, not quite like that, but yeah, there's always the possibility to auto-detonate, or if this DT even attacks the Banelings itself, then it is going to go down. 17 probes have already died, and the DTs, they're doing a lot of damage, but they're just...
God. Did we lose? The Baneling bus took down the Singaporean internet. Oh god, no! But GG, well played. Demi does successfully execute that Bane bust, and he will be able to take this series 2-0. Oh my god. As we quickly switch scenes here, hopefully I'll be joined once again by Yaku soon. Oh god, hold on. I got something for this. Beautiful. GG, well played. Congratulations to Demi as he does advance forward here in the bracket. Meanwhile, my condolences to StarDuck. He is knocked out. He's not out of the tournament. He's just knocked down to that lower bracket where he'll be waiting for another opponent. Oh, meanwhile, I have to wait until Yaku times out before I can leave the score screen. There we go. Oh god. So yes, congratulations are in order, and Demi moves on to face the winner of Piglet and Ranger, which is another series that I believe is still ongoing. As I quickly check here, and it looks like Yaku may be on his way back. He's currently reconnecting, so those are all good things. But yeah, I think now is a good time for me to quickly check to see if we have other updates on the brackets. Oh boy, and it looks like so far it is just Demi moving on forward, which means we can look for another series. The other kind of big notable series that we were looking at other than Demi versus StarDuck was Raza versus Pez, so we may try and sneak into that if possible. Other than that, there is also Ender versus Risky, a ZVZ, and Ranger versus Piglet, a PvT. Oh boy.